Hello everybody, and welcome to this webinar. Today we're going to talk about field service and planning. So this is the release highlight webinar focused on the version 19.1 and 19.2. So I'm Lucas Pasky, business analyst at Odoo and services expert. And without further ado, let's jump in directly into the agenda of today's webinar. So it will be divided in 4 main sections. The first one will be the what's new. So you will have few slides about the new functionalities. Then I will show you in Odoo how it is in Odoo, basically, with use cases and demo. After all those use cases, so you will see we will have 3 main use cases. We will have a little talk about sneak peek and what's coming for the 20 version, the next major version, sorry. And then we will end with the Q&A, so don't hesitate to ask your question in the chat during the webinar. I will look into them at the end of it. Okay, so the first what's new slide. Basically, before going into the novelties, if for those who don't know, the field service app has disappeared, but not its functionalities. So all the functionalities of field service have been merged into the planning app. And so for some of the new features, you might think that it's already existing. It's the case. It's just now that we will benefit them in the planning app for our field service flows. So the first one being the worksheets. So the worksheets have been moved to the shift of planning. This is not the only change that has been done. Now the worksheet templates are no longer done with studio fields. So they are done with property fields, which is a major change, especially for people who didn't want to pay a custom license to have studio and have the possibility to work with worksheets. Second point is the location button. So you will see it in my demo, but you will have a small button opening you the maps view to directly have the way to your client's location. Then we can add pictures to a shift in the planning. It was already kind of the case with field service, but you will see now that we have a dedicated button and the way it works is a bit different. We can also add products. This is basically the same. So in field service, we could add product. It's the same in the shift. We have 2 new buttons, so the sign in and the complete, that works together in the flow. Those are completely new buttons, and you will also see it in the demo. We have the break time. So along with the allocated time that was already existing in planning, we now have the break time next to it. And the last features for this first slide, because you will see that we'll have 3 slides like that, is the recorded time that will be put directly on the sale order. There are few conditions for that, but basically the time you take to do a shift will be recorded and will be put on a sale order to then invoice the client. All right. Let's have a quick look at the first use case. So let's say that we have an emergency regarding some plumbing issue. One of our client has a pipe that is leaking heavily under the kitchen, and therefore we have to manage that and intervene there as soon as possible. All right, let's see how we can manage that in Odoo directly. So before we start into this use case, I wanted to show you the worksheet templates configuration and also quickly the settings of the planning app, because those are changes that I want to show you before. If we go in planning and configuration settings, we now have a bunch of settings that were in field service that have been put back to the planning application, as you can see here under the field service section. Also, we have here the field service that is by default checked whenever you put the module when you create a database. And also in the configuration, now the worksheet templates that are right there. So let's jump into one of them. I will show you quickly how it's made. You give a name to a template and then you can add your properties field. It's really easy to do. So if I was to add a property field, I just click here. I put a name, a label to my field, a type of field. So you can see the whole types that are existing here. and afterwards I just save it, and my worksheet template is done. I will remove this field because it's no longer of use for our demo. All right, let's come back to our use case. So let's come back to the main view of the planning, which is this one. You know it probably if you were used to use planning. But here we have a call from our client, and so we don't know who to assign for this, but we will create an open shift for probably tomorrow. Let's put it there. We will take a shift template that we previously configured for this plumber. So the role is then computed, put there. And what we want also is to put our customer. So our customer is Linda, and we have to put a project. So this is the basic condition that I was talking about before. If you don't have a project, the time that will be recorded on this shift won't be put back on a sale order. So you can still do your flow, you can still do the shift, fill in the worksheet and so on, but the time recorded won't be put back on the sale order. So here I have to choose a project. In this case, I will choose Field Service. And then I will just check that my worksheet is the right one. So I have a worksheet for emergencies. So that's the one that I will be using. Since I'm on the phone and I don't know who to assign this shift to, I will just save it and it will stay in the open shift section right there. Let's now consider that I'm in the shoes of the planner. And the planner opens planning and he will just check all the open shifts that are available, and he sees one here. If he clicks on it, he sees that it's for a plumber, it's from that time to that time, and he has all the information. He can just drag and drop it to the right line of the resource to which he wants to assign this shift. In that case, I will take myself. So I drag and drop here, and then I will go in that shift and publish only that shift for myself. All right, the shift has been published, and now if I come back to this view, let's say that I am the actual technician that needs to go on site to help the client. I have a very neat menu that has been added as well. Here under planning is the My Planning. In there, I will have a view, calendar view of my shift, and it's really nice to see that like that. It's way more clear and it's way easier to navigate in Odoo. If I click on this shift, I have for the moment an error, but this is normal. This is expected. I was expecting it. This is something that is fixed. It's gonna be pushed. It's already been pushed, but by the time I created this database, was not there. So it's gonna be fixed, and I'm just gonna open it through a workaround. So from the GAN view, for example, and I can do exactly the same. So if I click here, I have two new buttons that I was mentioning in my slides. For example, this one, the location button. So if I click in there, it will open me a map view to have the ways to go to my client already computed by Google Maps, and I can just start my car and go there. All right, let me just go back to, oops. Sorry. Let me just go back to Odoo. And so now that I have the location, I have to sign in. I will just go into the form view of this shift because it's clearer for the information I want to show you. When I will sign in, I will have the stage of the shift that will change. So at the moment it's scheduled and it will be put in progress as soon as I click on sign in. You also see the time that was expected for this shift. So starting at 8 a.m. on the 19th of March and ending at 12, and the allocated time right under. If I sign in, I will have the demand for geolocation, which is also a feature that was in field service and is now put back to planning. I allow it, and a lot of changes have been done here. First, as I said, it's going to be put in progress, meaning that we are actually working on fixing the plumbing issue of our client. Since we agreed on the geolocation, we have in the chatter a log note telling us where we were at the moment of the start of this shift. Also, we see that the start date has changed to the exact moment of when I clicked on the sign in button. The allocated time has changed also and has been recomputed, which is a bit false because the shift is not today, and so it will take the time between today and tomorrow, and so yeah, it's a bit false, but for the demo, it will work when we will complete the shift. Now, what do I have to do? So I am at my client, I have to fix the pipe, and then once it's fixed, I want to add some pictures about the work that I've done, but also I want to maybe add some product that I've used, and I want to bill it, to invoice it to my client. So first, let's add the photos. That's the new button that was not there before. If I click in there, it will open my files, but if I was on a tablet or on a phone, I could open also my camera to take some pictures. So I take those two pictures and I add them. You see that I now have two photos. They are also added in the chatter, as you can see here, but you will see also that they will be added to the report. Now that I've added my photos, I have to add the product that I've used as well. So I go into my catalog and I will add my pipe and maybe some bolts as well that I used for the pipe to be working just fine. Okay, I'm good with those products. I come back to my shift. I have my photos, I have my products. Last step is to fill in my worksheet. So in the worksheet here, I can unfold my plumbing section and I can fill my worksheet actually. So the notes, I have some random notes, but basically everything went well, nothing more to say. And I will now say that all my tests were passed as well. So pressure test, flow test, and water temperature, everything was fine. I can put the intervention date, so I can either click on the calendar or write in today and enter, and it would be putting the exact date of today. And then I will sign it. So this is my signature. And once it's done, I've done all my tasks, all my actions that I should be doing when I go on site. So signing in, doing the actual work that is not in Odoo, of course, putting the pictures if there are, putting the products if there are, and filling the worksheet if needed. Afterwards, I've done everything, and I can click on this new button, complete, which is the end of the sign in button. So I click on complete. Remember the time here, you will see that will change. But the big difference here, the big thing that you have to keep in mind is that when I click on complete, it will open the portal view. So if I have a tablet and I'm at my clients, if I click on complete, I will be able to show him the portal with the worksheet, the field service report. So the information will be the time and the materials that we've used. So you can see that we have the product that we've added to the shift, but also the actual time that we've done, which is a quarter of an hour because the timesheets are rounded to a quarter of an hour in our configuration. We have the actual timesheet that is recorded, and we have also the worksheet plus the picture in the very end of this portal. Let's sign the report. So that's where you end the tablet to the client, and he can sign directly here and say, I'm okay with your intervention and with your report. So, report is signed. Let's go back to the backend of Odoo. And as you may have seen, now we are in completed for the stage of the shift. The end date has also been recomputed to the actual end dates of our shift, and the allocated time at the same time has been recomputed. We also have two buttons on the top, actually three buttons. First one is to come back to the portal view, and those other ones are the recorded times, so those are the timesheets that are automatically recorded for this shift, plus the sales order. So if we click on the sale order, we can see it's what was on the portal. If I go back to my shift, I now also have the report that has been sent out automatically to the client via this PDF. It's pretty much the same PDF as what was there before in field service. The only big difference is basically the way the worksheet looks. It's a little bit different, but also the photos that are added by default, which was a big limitation before with field service and studio worksheet, because you had to add as many fields as potential pictures that you could have. And now it's automatic, you don't have to think about it. All right, so that's for the first flow. Let's now go back to my slides for the next what's new slide. So the next one is the following. We now have the feature of the products to pick up that have been merged also in planning. It was existing, but now it's in planning. The auto plan feature, which is a feature that was already existing in planning, but so it's still there, but now we can benefit this feature in our field service flows, so that's really neat. The next point is about the My Planning plus the sign-in. So that's what I wanted to show you, but I was expecting the bug to happen, so it's normal, but it's still a novelty. And then I can assign several resources to a shift and also assign multiple materials to the same shifts if I want. We have the ICS file from the mail, so basically when you publish a shift, it sends an email to the resource, and then it will be able to click on one or the other link. So one is for Google Calendar, one is for Outlook Calendar, and it will create the actual shift in his own calendar. And then the last point is the fact that we now have a default service to bill on the employee form. So as you may have seen when I've done the first use case, when I completed the flow, it was the service on timesheet that was put on the sale order. But now I can set a different type of service per employee so that it's this service that will be put on the sale order when a shift is completed. All right, let's now talk about the next use case. So I will be installing solar panels to my client, Elena Rodriguez. She's asking for 4 solar panels and plus the installation. Let's see how we can manage that in Odoo. Let me just take a sip. All right, so for that, we will not start from the planning. We will start from the sales app, and we will create a sale order for that specific client, Elena Rodriguez. In there, we will add our solar panel installation service plus our actual physical product, the solar panels. We know that she wants 4 units of solar panels, and we can expect to work 4 hours for that. We are quite experienced. Okay, let's have a quick look into the configuration of this product, which is actually a service. We don't really need anything to be created on order, but we want to check this field, which is the plan service, and we want to plan shifts for roof worker roles. Also, we want the worksheet when the shift is created for that product sold to be by default the solar panel installation so that we don't have to change it every time. Okay, let's go back to our sale order and let's confirm it. Once it's confirmed, you have 2 buttons that appeared. First one is the delivery. Of course, we have to deliver those 4 products to the client. And the second one is the fact that since we sold 4 hours of installation, we have to plan those 4 hours. If I click on the 4 hours to plan, I will have a view of the resources in my planning app that are in the role of a roof worker. So that's already filtering on the resources that might have to take that shift. So differently from the first use case, I will directly assign it to, once again, myself here, but also, and that's one of the new features that I just told you a few minutes ago, I can assign my colleague Greg to the very same shift. Once I do that, I have my allocated time that changes to 2 times the normal time. Plus, I know that at my client's place, I will need some materials. And so I want to follow up on that and know that the materials will be used in my planning view. So I need drilling machine, a Bosch one, and I also need a level laser from Makita. So you see, from one shift, I've put 4 records, 2 materials, and 2 resources, but I could have put many more if I wanted. Then I will put a project as well. So once again, it's field service related project. My customer is already put because I created the shift from the sale order, and the sale order item also has been linked. I can directly publish this. You now see that you have 4 shifts that were created, but basically it's the same one that is put for all those resources. Let's go directly in the flow. So if I click on there, I can directly sign in. Before I sign in, I want to explain how it works. Because we are 2 resources on that shift, how will the time will be recorded? Who has to sign in? Who has to complete? So this is quite simple. If we have 2 resources assigned to this shift, only one of them will be signing in. And only one of them will be completing the shift as well. The time that will be recorded is basically the time between the sign in and the complete, like it was for the first use case, times the number of resources. So in this case, I sign in, it takes me 10 minutes, then it will be 10 times 2 because I have 2 resources. So I've signed in, and also what we can see on top, since we sold an installation with some products, we have also the products to pick up that are there for the technicians to know what are the products that they have to take into account for this shift. If I go back to my shift, this is the normal way of doing like it was right before. I can do my work on site. I can add my pictures. So in that case, the solar panels that I've installed. I can go into products, and there I will see that by default my solar panels are already there. I could add more if, for example, I was on site and the client asked me to put one more, but it's quite rare that I have that in my track, but who knows. I will also add some product, so I need a lot of bolts for my panels to be fixed correctly, and also a bunch of screws. Perfect. I've added my photos, my products, and now once again the worksheet. And as you see, the solar panel installation worksheet template has been put by default because of the configuration I put on the product that I sold, the service, the solar panel installation. So let's fill this worksheet. So the roof orientation, it's southeast, shading, all clear. No trees. Roof condition is perfect, and the materials are tiles. Also some notes, nothing specific, so I'm just gonna put a dash. And the date will be today, so I can just click on today or write today like I did before. And I will sign. All right. So my work as technician on site is almost done. I've done everything, I just need to click on complete. I click on complete, and now I have the same field service report as before with my time and my material, plus my timesheet. So as I said, 2 resources, 2 times the time between the sign in and the complete, the actual worksheet, the signature, and the photo. Let's let our client sign. The client agreed with this and signs the report. And then it's exactly the same. We have the report sent out automatically, and the rest is the same. We have the recorded time here. This is where also, if at some point you have different resources on a shift and you want, you know that the time that they recorded, the time that they actually spent on site is not the same, you can manually change the time spent on the timesheets that are there. Okay. In my slide, I had the last point that I didn't show in this demo. It was the default service to bill on an employee. I will change it on myself because there will be another use case afterwards. But in the employee, if you go into the settings of that employee, you scroll down a bit and you have the service to bill right there. So by default, it takes the service on timesheets, but if I want it, I could add another one, maybe roof working or something else. And now, whenever this employee will be on a shift, when time will be recorded, this is the service to bill that will be put on the sale order. Okay, let's go back to our slides. For the last what's new slide, a bit less new features in there. So the first thing is that we can now, and you may have seen it while I was presenting my demo, that the task, the shift has now a link to a task. So it's not only the project, it's also task within a project. And so we can assign several shifts per task. We also have the under warranty checkbox on a shift that is there. So it was in field service and now it's back also in planning. Then we have the possibilities to benefit from the recurring shifts that were already present in the planning app, but now once again we can use those shifts, those recurring type shifts, in our field service flow. And the last new feature is the fact that we can hide the price on the report. So you may have seen that in my report that I made my client sign, all the price were there. There is a setting not to show that. Let's talk about then the last use case that I want to present to you. There will be a little bonus one, but this one is for recurring maintenances. So we sell heating systems maintenance contracts, and we have just one of our clients, so the Liège Hospital, that want to have that maintenance contract with us, and it's for his HVAC systems on a monthly basis. Let's see how we can manage that in Odoo within the planning app. Okay, first, there was the hide prices on reports new feature. This is something that is in the settings of the planning app, and right under products, you have here the hide prices on customer report. This is a global setting, meaning that if you check that, all the reports will be with the price hidden. So I can just save it. Go back to this view, and now for this maintenance contract we will work with the subscription app. So from the subscription app we will create a new subscription for our client, so the Liège Hospital, and we will add our HVAC maintenance product. We will make it monthly, and we will have quickly a look into the settings of that product. So that product is available for subscription, of course. It is a service that will create project and task based on a project template, but also it will plan services as an HVAC technicians with the correct worksheet based HVAC maintenance. Okay, let's now say that our clients agreed with that subscription. We can confirm the sale order. We have different smart buttons that appeared. First one being the project and the task. It was already there. We have the recorded time, and we have also the time to plan. And that's where we are heading right now. If I click here, once again, I will have my planning filtered by default on two of my resources that are who are HVAC technicians. I can then create my first maintenance there. But since it's quite a big hospital, I will also put my second resource, so Norman, and I will put myself as well. So we will go there as 3 people. We see that the project is linked, but also the task that was created when we conferred the subscription. Here we have the date, so on Friday it's good, but it's not gonna take only 1 hour. We have to at least allocate 4 hours to that kind of shift. And next to the shift we have this little recurring buttons, the repeat button. If I click on there, I can say that this shift will repeat for in my case every month forever, because our maintenance contracts are meant to be forever. Once again, the allocated time has been recomputed for 3 resources, and the worksheet has been put as the HVAC one, so it's perfect. Let's publish it. It's published, and now we should have as many shifts created as the recurrencies tells us. That's something I forgot to show in the configuration of the planning, but if we go back in planning and configuration, you have the recurring shift here, and by default it's 6 months, but in my case I put 12. And now if we go back to our subscription, we see that we have 96 hours planned, so it's more than what we planned for this week. If I click on there and maybe go into a list view so that it's clearer, I see that I have shifts created for the next month, for 12 months, for every technician. Okay, let's go back to the shift, and now you know the drill. We go on the shift, we can sign in directly from there. Once it's signed in, we put our photos, we put our products. So in our case, we might have some air filters and maybe a new battery for one of their system. We will fill in the worksheet. So put one of the manufacturer, the serial number, the type of system on which we work. It was heat pumps. Description of the intervention, nothing specific apart from one battery not working, plus 2 filters were obstructed, need to change it. Then I certify that this device meets the requirement of an acceptable device at the time of testing. I put the date of today and I sign. It is signed. I can now complete my shift. And basically it's the same as before. You have the field service report, you have the time and materials, the timesheets, the worksheets, the photos if there are, in this case there is not, and you can sign the report for the client. And it's done. The shift is completed, the time is recorded, and everything works fine. I had a little additional use case for the under warranty here. I wanted to show you that if I was to create a new shift for, once again, myself, put project, let's say field service, put a client, so let's change and go for Daikin Industries. We will say that it's under warranty, and we will publish it. Yeah, that's good. That's for today. Okay. Now that the shift has been published, I will go here. So it was this one. Let me just check. It was this one. If I sign in and I put some products, so let's say that once again it was air filters products. I fill in my worksheet, so I can just sign in because I have nothing to say about this and put the date. Great. I will complete this shift. It's completed. I will make it now. First, you see that no product is there on the portal. And then I let my client sign. I go back to my shift, and on the sale order that is linked, I see that my products are there. So my 3 air filters, they are delivered, but they are not invoiced, and the price is at 0. So it means that the under warranty checkbox is working as expected. You can add products, but it's not going to be invoiced to the client. Okay, that's it for the use cases. A last slide about the sneak peek of the next major version, the version 20. Those are the features that will be there. So first, the live map. So you will be able to track where your technicians are on a map. The buffer time between shifts, so we have the addresses of the client, but now we will compute the time that it will take between 2 places in your day and compute a buffer time. We will have a side panel in the planning that will be really neat for the planners, not to have to check on the open shift bar, but have something. So if we come back to Odoo, something here like a side panel that will help them to plan the shifts better. We will have the default worksheets added to shift templates. So at the moment, worksheet can be linked to a product that you sell, but not to a shift template yet. The client's location may also be taken into account for the auto plan feature. The customer ratings will be back, so this is something that is not there for the moment, but it's in the making for shifts. And then the integration with appointment app will be improved as well. So that's it for the moment. You can continue putting your question in the chat. I will just take a short break and then I will address them. Thank you. Okay, I'm back for the questions, so you had plenty of them. I will first address with a question from LinkedIn that was asking, will it work online? It has been in the discussion to be working, so I'm not 100% sure it's already done, but it's something that we've discussed with the product team. So we have now a work offline feature in Odoo. It might work for planning, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to say something wrong about that, but it's in discussion at the moment. Next question from Ahmed. So how will the existing worksheet templates be carried over in upgrade, same as the data from previous field service tasks and their worksheets? Yeah, so this is a question that is really good, a good question. Basically, the scripts are already in the making, and it shouldn't be an issue for the data from field service to be put back in planning. Of course, I think the most touchy part for the developers are the worksheets, having studio fields to be changed into property fields. This is something that is already in the making. From what I've discussed also with the team, it's going smoothly, but there might still be a little bit of manual work to be sure that some fields are just put back the way they should. But globally, except if you have 1,000 worksheets, it should be totally fine. The team have been working on it. Okay, we have question from Seagoodchild 6201. So does an engineer need to be a licensed user, or can they just be employees portal users? So it's working as before in planning. You don't need to have a license to be considered as a resource. But of course, you won't have the functionality, the features of signing in, completing, and so on. You will receive your shifts, know what to do, but you won't be able to actually work in Odoo. You will have access to your portal, of course. Can the assignment of an open shift be done from a map view that shows all shifts, identifying open shift particularly alongside those already allocated? From Rob Pounds. This is a very good question once again. So if we have a quick look into Odoo and go into the planning, here we have the map view. So from the map view, we could work with some filter and then assign the right shift to the right employee. So I guess that the answer to your question is yes. I might not have enough time to build all those filters at the moment, but from this view, you could build your own filters and assign the shift to the people that you think are the right ones. Let me go back to my questions. Can we have multiple services on a shift from American calibration? Not sure to understand fully the question, but if your question is that the recorded time will be put on different product in the sale order, then it's a yes. Otherwise, I might not have understood your question. Ahmed ask another question about the tracking of inventory for services products. Yeah, this is a problem in my database, so the track inventory field. So I think you are referring to, let's have a quick look. Was it this one? Yeah, here we have the track inventory that shouldn't be there. So thanks for this intervention. I've already noticed it, and it's already something I've told the team, but indeed it shouldn't be there. So nice spotting. Let me just, because there are a lot of questions, let me just try to put it down. A question from Yeezy Disciple. So when I timesheet my service, does it deliver the initially sold service or a new line with the service to bill? This depends on the configuration of your product. So in my demos, I was using services that were prepaid. So there were no service to be billed to the client because it's prepaid. If I had to choose a service that was configured based on timesheet for the invoicing, then based on the service to bill that is set on the employee, it should create as many lines as types of service if there are several resources. I hope it answers your question. Yeah, another question from Jeremy Ingram. What will happen to the already completed worksheets when people upgrade? It's linked to the question I've answered from Ahmed from the beginning, if I'm not mistaken. So the upgrade shouldn't be an issue, except some little manual work for the worksheet templates. I will try to answer one or two more questions. Once again from Jeremy Ingram. So some resources will not be required for entire job. How to configure? Yeah, for that, the solution is not existing yet. It's a really great feedback. At the moment, what can be configured is what can be changed is a bit manual, but all the resources are there and you can change the recorded time in the end. So it shouldn't be too hard of an action to do, because the guy that will complete will then just have to go on the recorded time and change the timesheet. But this is a really good feedback, and we will probably take it into account. I will answer one last question and then it will be done for today. Let me just... no, so from Edara solution, how can you link the shift to project task? And previously in field service, we had the ability to generate reporting, including statically by completed worksheets. Yeah, for the second point, this is a great point. This is also something that we've thought about. Basically, when it comes to merging an app, it's normal that we would have a little regressions, but this is something that we are thinking about, and but it's really, once again, a great feedback, and we will discuss it also with the product team. So that's it for the question, and that's it for the webinar. Once again, thank you for listening to me. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you've learned, and I hope also that you're excited about the new version 19.2. Thank you.